Welcome to the Transform Sales Podcast, where forward-thinking business leaders come to share their experiences and ideas, learn from each other, and amplify their results together.
How's it going, everybody? Eddie here on another episode of the Transform Sales Podcast. Today, I have a very interesting guest, which is Yuri, founder of AiSDRs, and we're going to have a conversation about how people in the audience can book meetings with your ideal prospects through human-like AI conversations via email and LinkedIn. Yuri, how you doing today?
Doing great. Thank you so much for the invitation, Eddie. Really great to be here.
Excellent. It's amazing to have you on the show. There's a lot of things that we want to discuss. And I want to start by now that we have an explosion of AI solutions, let's rewind a little bit and tell me about your clients before they hired you. What were they using to do, let's say, called outbound email prospecting, LinkedIn prospecting before they met your solution?
Yeah. So our customers come from different kind of backgrounds in terms of sales process maturity, right? But I would say the typical one would have like Apollo for database and sequencing, and then potentially like using RB2B for website visitor identification, and then maybe using like Phantom Buster or Hayreach or Dripify for LinkedIn outreach, right? And then a person who ties it all together and tries to like make it useful and book meetings for their kind of employer, essentially using all those tools. So this is a typical setup that we see.
Gotcha. So your customers today are not starting from scratch. They probably have already Legion in place, a database, a way to get some sort of intent signals, as you said, RB2B to identify traffic visitors, maybe Bombora or something else to get some intent signals. And they're providing all of that information to a human that is executing a campaign or executing outbound activities based on all those signals and trying to identify which is the best way to grab a hold of a potential lead or a prospect. Now, tell me, Yuri, what are the challenges that you are seeing in your customers in that way of doing things, in that status quo, let's say, of prospecting?
Yeah. So the number one problem is that essentially results, right, depend on the skill, the passion, and the relentlessness of the person executing, right, and using those tools, right? Basically, the person needs to know like what a good copy looks like, what good targeting looks like in terms of the audience, how to make those signals actionable, because that's also not trivial. And basically, at all of those levels, there very often is failure, and therefore there are no results, right? And those are the kind of the number one challenge. The number one challenge that this tech is disjointed, and that you need people with a lot of experience to operate and get results out of that. And often people don't have resources and time to do that.
You've hit the nail in the head. For a lot of companies, SDRs, cold calling activities, appointment setting roles are typically the entry level roles, when in reality they should be the most expert ones, because they only have like you could say, only have one chance at a first impression. And that's what they're doing, right? They're cold calling potential customers, giving that first impression to establish if there's a potential fit to continue having that conversation further. And where they're putting the experts is like in the AE position, the ones that get those calls or those initial appointments transferred over. But if the first person doesn't succeed, if they don't have, as you said, the right strategy, know how to use all those signals, know how to combine the right channels, know what value points or leverage to use versus a certain person's situation, and how to use that research, then all of your strategy after that really falls flat. You need to be putting your first or your best foot forward, but a lot of companies are not doing that. That seems to be the issue that you're seeing. So tell us a little bit about AiSDR. I think at this point, we know that there's a lot of capabilities that AI has been developing throughout the time. Ever since we started hearing about ChatGPT, it's been an explosion of tools and different resources, but people are still hesitant. Can an AI really replace a human? Maybe not to a full extent, but at least on some activities. And you seem to have cracked the code when it comes to prospecting, at least through email and LinkedIn. Why don't you share the screen and show us a couple of those features that customers today are loving about your solution?
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to share the screen and kind of walk you through the platform.
Awesome. All right. We see it.
Yeah. So basically, the idea behind AiSDR is to help you launch high-performance outreach campaigns super fast, right? So cold outreach is the most kind of typical campaign start for us, right? And the way we help you do this super fast, you can just describe your kind of audience conversationally, or even just give us a website, and then AI will automatically kind of suggest the relevant companies automatically, right? So I'm going to say like, I want to have sales executives in B2B software companies, right? And then you, with AiSDR, you have access to like ZoomInfo database for leads, Sales Navigator, those are included in subscription. You have all the filters available. And on top of that, you can research every company to make sure that you're finding just the right prospects, right? So you can research them across web to basically find like, okay, companies that have initiatives around hiring or whatever, news, like recently closed a round, or like have some kind of financial trouble, or great news, right? Technologies they are using. And to make sure that you can navigate all of those filters in the way that helps you find the right audience, AiSDR automatically kind of fills in all of those parameters for you using AI, right? So basically it goes back, it analyzes conversationally like, hey, here are the companies that I want to go after. And based on that, it's going to help you find the relevant audience. But on top of these kind of additional kind of cold outreach, we also have website visitor signals that basically help you identify people who visit specific pages on your website, and then not only identify them, but instantly narrow them down to your ICP, saying like, hey, I want to find people who visited my pricing page and who are kind of like C-level executives, right? And then you can also additionally research them and set an evergreen campaign to that audience to make sure that basically you're getting the necessary, reaching out to necessary audience instantly, right? So as you can see, for social signals, it's very similar, right? But what we're tracking is not your page, but actually a LinkedIn profile of specific companies, right? So this can be your company LinkedIn profile, your competitor LinkedIn profile, leadership profiles, yours, competitors, influencers in the space. And we will be able to identify people who like their content, and then again, narrow them down to your ICP and reach out to them across email and LinkedIn. These campaigns, website visitors and social signals, convert 5 to 10 times better than pure cold outreach, right?
Wow.
And then the moment you have the leads in the system, right, you can then set up the entire kind of workflow. I'm just going to pick like a first lead over here. And the system obviously automatically kind of tracks duplicates and synchronizes everything into your CRM. But what's really cool is that with AiSDR, you also can configure AI to understand your business really well and talk in your tone of voice. We do that through this super detailed personas that AI automatically creates for every customer based on their like value prop, website, kind of frequently asked questions, playbooks they have internally. And then you just set a goal, like book a demo, and configure the sequence across email and LinkedIn, right? So AI will create all the emails, no need to write anything manually. Every prospect will receive a personalized sequence of emails and also LinkedIn messages. We will take care of all your email infrastructure by domains, mailboxes, warm them up, so deliverability is pretty much guaranteed. And then you can also connect multiple LinkedIn accounts to make sure that basically the emails and LinkedIn messages are going out at a similar scale. And then you set a sending schedule and create a preview email. It's a preview because every email we create is unique. AI researches the person across a ton of different parameters and creates a highly personalized message to that person, which it then sends across email and LinkedIn. On top of plain text, we can also do AI videos, which are kind of very engaging, and it's basically a deepfake of you that you can build into the email, and then memes, and that also kind of are very engaging because they are fun and a huge pattern interrupt because people are not used to kind of seeing memes in the kind of outreach. And then saying like, hey, this is something that you're kind of working on, and I see that you recently checked out a sales tool because AI kind of researched that, and then saying like, I have an offer. This is the problem that you might be having. This is how I can solve it super fast. Are you interested? And then basically it also shows you a bunch of follow-ups that AI is going to send. And it could also, in the similar way, create LinkedIn messages. And then when I click create campaign, it's just going to start sending those emails and follow-ups to every single person until they engage. And when they engage, AiSDR can even handle the back and forth up until the meeting is booked. So contacts, signals, sequencing, deliverability across email and LinkedIn, everything to make sure that you get meetings booked without spending too much time on it.
Yuri, this is incredible. There's a lot of things I want to like go back and kind of unpack a little bit slower for people in the audience to make sure that they saw all the value that I'm seeing. First of all, you started showing us we haven't even executed the campaign. We're still at this step of the campaign builder. And in less than 10 minutes, you've showed us a lot of comprehensive ways to deploy a campaign, go through the copy. Like campaigns, the way I've seen it, they are made out of three components: having the right person, the right message,
Right.
and sending it at the right time, right? So that means having the right leads, message, and execution. And you showed us when it comes to the leads, there's a few things I want to highlight. Number one, most of the tools these days still operate under a fields premise. Select the country, select the headcount, select the job titles, yada, yada, yada. And it takes you a few minutes to go through that. And I kind of love that there's a new method these days, especially with the advent of AI again, where you now just chat. Hey, I would love to make a lead list of companies in the US that also have entities offshore with at least 300 employees and around their second series of funding. Like having the ability to describe my ideal target in open text instead of navigating and fiddling through fields really makes the experience completely different and much more intuitive, and it just flows better. That's thing number
Yeah.
one. Thing number two, for the price of AI SDR, you are including ZoomInfo and Sales Navigator. Sales Navigator alone could be a $80 license. So, and ZoomInfo, it can really scale your costs if you're trying to do different lists and pull for different campaigns, product launches, local campaigns, etc., etc. So that right there is huge value that you get through your platform. Cool. Let's move on a little bit. You showed us also how to integrate with CRMs, and I wanted to ask you: is there any set of CRMs that you natively integrate with? Are there some CRMs that you don't touch? How does that integration work for people in the audience curious about this?
Yeah. So for now, we integrate with HubSpot, right? We
Mhm.
have a pretty strong integration with HubSpot where you can connect to any of the lists, active or static, inside HubSpot, use
Nice.
any properties of a contact for personalization of the outreach. So this is works really well for closed loss reactivation, inbound lead qualification, nurturing, and other similar kind of workflows. And then we can sync contacts back to HubSpot, sync all the AI SDR outreach to HubSpot, and even create AI call tasks, where basically based on the research AI did on a specific person, AI SDR will create a personalized script and a call task for a team member to follow up on email and LinkedIn outreach that AI SDR did previously. Other than HubSpot, we do not integrate with any other CRMs yet. Salesforce and Pipedrive are on the roadmap, but for now, we have a ton of customers using AI SDR with Salesforce, with Pipedrive, because the system is standalone, right? So we are your lead vendor, we are your sequencing provider, and essentially the only time you want to bring this back to CRM is actually when the meeting is booked, which you can do through the integration between the scheduling software and the relevant CRM.
Pretty much at the handoff point. Once the work of the SDR is done and the meeting's locked in, put it on the CRM and hand it over to the AE. I like that. You also showed us just a second ago how there's two styles of using AI SDR. If you don't have the team, if you don't have the experts, then just run it through AI SDR. But if you have a solid team that knows how to tweak the conversations, read the nuances, and really have a nick of converting leads into opportunities for the account executives, then they can just use AiSDR as a co-pilot, as you just said. It integrates with your CRM. It's still going to create the messages, read all the context that's online on the potential LinkedIn page, etc., draft the script. It can send it for you as text, right, as an email or as a LinkedIn message, or it can just put it in front of you. And me as an SDR, I have the control of saying, hey, I'll use that verbatim, word for word, or I'll make a slight tweak and send it with my own voice style. Hey, you know what? I don't want to do text prospecting. I want to do prospecting through LinkedIn, but I don't want to send messages. I want to send voice notes to send out because not everyone's using it, or video. I can now record that video myself, but get AI to help me create the copy, at least to a point where I'm like, you know what, I'll take 80% of this. And I've seen both styles of users, and I'm happy that you cater to both. Something else for the ones that, hey, you know what, if this can replace part of my payroll and I can just promote these guys to have, or train them to be better AEs and have AI take care of all the prospecting, let's say tedious, mundane, and type of work, right, that requires a lot of thick skin, rejection. AI is not going to get tired. AI, you can curse at it, you can yell at it, and it's going to pick up the next call, send it with enthusiasm. So you have those two options. And I like that you also showed us the tone of voice. It can learn about your style. It can learn about your brand characteristics. So if you're a financial company, it'll be a little bit more strict. But if you're maybe a media company offering some sort of services to, I don't know, millennials, the youth, etc., it can have a little bit of a different style. I kind of like that. Here we are looking again at the personas. You want to expand a little bit on this?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
methodologies. I see.
exactly.
Tell the audience,
Right.
please.
Yeah, so you can basically choose the messaging style, and those messaging styles are kind of pre-trained on top performing human sellers, right? So we have Justin Michael, we have Josh Brown, and you can kind of scroll through those and see like, okay, which one of those do I like more, right? And then you can, at any point of time, add your custom one, just copy paste one or several emails, and AI is going to mimic those. And then basically you just kind of feed information about your value prop, your audience, your case studies. And then when you click create personas, AiSDR is going to create a tailored prompt uniquely for you to help kind of AiSDR do that outreach on your behalf in your tone of voice, understanding your business. And then at any point of time, you can go in and fine tune it on the personas tab.
For the people in the audience, I cannot overstate how important this is. I used to be head of training when Cloutus was an agency, and I've trained hundreds of sales reps on methodologies. I saw there Josh Brown, for example. I remember for countless hours building workshops on how people could draft an email using the 4T structure to send an email and capture people's attention. Well, guess what? For people in the audience hesitating whether AI can really or has really improved to a point where, at least on a written format, it can replace a human. Well, guess what? Probably a lot of the people guessing if it can do it or not is just because they saw an earlier version of ChatGPT, try to draft some emails. Maybe 20% of it was good, 80% of it was crazy language that people don't really use, like delve or some other words that AI love to include on those earlier versions. And I remember also the first few emails would always had the sentence, the dreadful sentence of, I hope this email finds you well. If that's all you saw, then no wonder you're hesitant. But what Yuri just showed us, different styles. Justin Michael, shout out. Justin Brown, like there's just George Brown, a lot of leaders in this space with curated methodologies that you have included. If you're not sure which one works for you, hey, give it a try, run it for a while, do some A/B testing, and as you can see at the end, you can always grab some elements from one and another and custom build your own. So that's very powerful, tone of voice. The next thing I wanted to highlight as well, that you showed us was the email boxes and the LinkedIn accounts, and I wanted to ask you something. So you said you help warm them up, etc. Can I buy those email domains through you, or do I need to take care of acquiring the domains and then I just bring them here and enable them, warm them up, etc.? And same thing with the LinkedIn profiles. Let's say that I'm a small company. I have my LinkedIn as an owner, maybe 2 or 3 sales reps in my team. They have their LinkedIns. profiles, but does this mean that I can create more fake profiles and run it through this? Do I need to be the one creating them? Can you create them for me? Help me understand that both on the email domains and the LinkedIn
Yeah.
accounts.
So on the email domains part, we buy domains for you. We buy mailboxes for you. We warm them up. You just gonna basically use them, right? They are available to you when we finish onboarding you into the system. So it's completely done for you, kind of service offering. And there is an automated workflow in AiSDR to order them, right? Because we need to know on whose behalf you want to be sending and what is your domain to create lookalikes and
Right.
redirects, right?
Love it.
On the LinkedIn side, it's different, right? So basically on LinkedIn side, we actually don't recommend creating kind of fake LinkedIn accounts. So usually our customers would connect their own LinkedIn accounts, or you can buy or rent LinkedIn accounts these days, but honestly, that never
Not
happens with our
recommended.
customers.
Perfect, perfect. That's very clear. Awesome. Now, the next thing I wanted to highlight was you mentioned text, you mentioned video, and you mentioned memes. Memes are definitely, I have seen a lot of deals that get rescued from the graveyard because of the right meme, a little bit of a right joke, a little bit of a pun there, some witty comment that really, as you said, works as a pattern interrupt and can turn things around. Uh, Help us learn a little bit more about what you meant with video. Is it because you guys have already started to create AI avatars that kind of record
Yeah.
some stuff? Walk us through that, please.
Yeah, exactly, right. So in this case, right, so the way it works, you record a 1 minute video of yourself, right? And then based on that video, we create your replica, right? So I have kind of my own replica over here. And then based on that replica, we then kind of create essentially your deepfake, right? So which we then embed into campaigns. So let me try to find one of my campaigns.
Nice.
Maybe this one is with videos. Yeah, so this is how it looks like, right? So basically a GIF embedded into an email, right? That is clickable. And if you click on it, it will open kind of a video page where I will give a custom pitch personalized to every single person, right? I never said these words in real life, right? But AI takes care of the lip sync and of voice generation.
That is insane. And can you show us a preview of how those landing pages look like? Is there anything we can control in those pages in terms of the call to action or if a calendar gets displayed,
Yeah.
etc.?
Not at the moment, right? So for now, basically, this is just kind of a placeholder with a video player, right? But over time, we will definitely kind of build out in that direction.
Amazing, amazing. And these days, when someone says over time, especially if they're in the AI industry, that means fairly quickly. Couple hours of vibe coding, fixing some bugs, and that feature should be up and running, right? Awesome, awesome. Now, so we've seen, just quick recap, how to create lead lists from different sources, and you highlighted that the ones on competitor pages, probably LinkedIn pages that you can scrape, your own website will convert even better than cold ones. You've showed us how to mimic styles of methodologies and sales and tone of voice in the branding and the style that the AI agent is going to use, how it operates on both written channels, but also now visual channels, which I'm assuming at some point there will be the capability of just sending a voice note. So mimicking just the voice, not even the avatar, but you already at the point where the avatar can be cloned. And I think the last step that I would love to see is we already spoke about the right person, the right message, and now let's talk about the right time, which is the execution of the sequence. Does this build, is it just, hey, one email, one message, one video, or does it create a sequence of events where it does a little bit of a preview on the first email, a little bit of extra value on the second drop, a little bit of extra value in a different shape on a different channel, in a different, like if the first two were text, the third one is a voice or a video? Show us a little bit of the sequences, the execution, and how either a rep or a sales manager, depending on who you tell us is the ideal user for this product, would manage a campaign, execute it, oversee it, take a look at their reports, and take action based on what's happening for improving that campaign. Walk us through that, Yuri, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So basically, the on the action front, kind of with AiSDR and the sequences, the AI takes care of everything, right? So the way it works is you just tell it which channels to use, like email and LinkedIn, and you just give it general guidance, like not less, not less than kind of X days between follow-ups, right? And then not more than specific number of follow-ups, and then use email and LinkedIn, right? The rest, AiSDR will execute automatically. It will create the copy. The first one is going to be like first part of the value prop. Second one will be like sharing additional resource. Third one will be like reiterating the case studies, right? And then any way you want to configure it, it can be configured. And this is done through the persona. And we built in best practices for like follow-up and campaigns and sequences, same as we did for like initial email frameworks, right? But the moment you can configure the channels and the number of follow-ups, AI takes care of everything. It creates the entire sequence and executes the entire sequence. You don't have to like program every single bit.
Amazing. And I can see the preview on the right side. Hey, email, how many days, if it's aggressive, multi-channel approach.
Yeah, those are
So
presets.
that's amazing. One thing that this takes care of is also the consistency. A lot of times when we're working with humans, those first few touches, they'll be consistent, but maybe the third follow-up, the fourth follow-up, as activities continue to pile up on the CRM, that's where they may start to lag. Maybe hey, I didn't have the bandwidth to go through the new batch of leads and do the second touch on the ones that I started yesterday and do the third touch on the ones that I started last week, and so on. Whereas with an AI, with agentic solutions, they won't get tired. They'll be consistent. You just set the rules. If you need them to follow up 17 times because you've seen that it's after the 14th attempt that there's a highest conversion, guess what? They'll go all the way until the 17th attempt, or unless you program it to stop when a lead replies, of course. This has been very, very insightful, Yuri. Is there anything else you would like to share with the audience in terms of other features that we have maybe not covered yet?
No, just the most simple thing to kind of remember about AiSDR is that it's the software that is the only software you would need for your outreach. We take care of finding the relevant contacts. We take care of high quality researched best practice outreach across email and LinkedIn. We take care of all the technical aspects around deliverability across email and LinkedIn. And then when somebody responds, our AI can even correspond, answer follow-up questions, handle objections up until the meeting is booked. So truly an AI SDR.
Wow. So it's not just that initial outbound, it's also a little slight, let's say, as you said it, handling objections, help me. So this can really be used by different types of users. As we said before, either those companies that have something in place, go-to-market motion, an outbound campaign, and you just want to enhance it and make it more consistent. Or it could also be used with the companies that, hey, I'm not really good at sales. I have a good product. I don't know how to sell it. It's not my best use of my time to go and try to hire SDRs, evaluate them, and train them. It's not my forte. Can I just get AI to take care of all of this? Guess what? There is a one-stop shop today. It'll become your lead source. It'll become your message. It'll tailor them. It'll learn about your personas. It'll teach you about sales even beyond the things that you already know, because it's got expertise ingrained at the core, at the heart of the algorithms and the LLM that's using. So it really becomes a one-stop shop for both experts that want to get a co-pilot assistant, but they want to still control the activities, or for the ones that, hey, I just want to delegate all of this put me in front of meetings that are already qualified, ready to learn more about my solution. Show me the history of what's said with each of those potential leads, but I just want to arrive at the meeting, do my magic, close from there, and move on. This has been a very fantastic episode. There's a couple more things I want to ask you before we wrap it up. The first one is about the key deliverables. So I want to ask, how long would it take someone in the audience, a B2B SaaS company, to implement AI SDR? What do you think or recommend they have or organize in order to, once they meet you, hit the ground running?
Yeah. So generally, it takes around a week for a company to kind of start using AI SDR. And there are three core elements. First one is you have to understand who's your kind of primary audience, right? Or at least what kind of experiments around audience you want to run with AI SDR. Second is configuring the AI messaging, right? So you should understand basically, okay, here's the style of messaging that I like. As you've seen, we give you suggestions, but if you have a preference, like please have it available. And fine-tuning that preference takes a little time. And then the third element is infrastructure, right? So mailboxes, setup and warm up takes time. As I mentioned, we do this for our customers, but like some things you just can't speed up. Customers who bring their own mailboxes actually are usually live on day one, right?
Nice.
Because they have the infrastructure, they know who they're targeting, they know basically the messaging that they want to use, and they can go live much faster. But safe estimate, I would say 1 week.
1 week, amazing. Throughout this implementation process, let's think of the ones that have something in place and what they're trying to do is just migrate, right? Hey, I have samples of emails that have worked for us, that have converted, sequences, etc. I want to bring that over here. Is there any sort of support that they get access to? Like, do they chat with you? Do they email with you? Can they book meetings with your team? Do they get a dedicated CAM or customer support rep, account manager? Walk us through that, the
Yeah.
support access that they
So
get.
every customer with AI SDR gets a dedicated customer success manager, right?
Is it an AI
And
manager? Ah.
no, it's an actual human manager, right? And they have a shared Slack channel between our team and their team where we answer all the questions. Our average response time is like 10 minutes. So it's very hands-on. We're very kind of customer oriented. I am in all of our like almost 200 customer support channels, right? So
Sweet.
I see kind of what's happening. And during onboarding, you start with an onboarding call, and then a lot of our customers have even like weekly check-ins with our customer success manager. So we really take care of you getting the most out of our software.
Incredible. What is the pricing model for a solution like this? Do you price per agent, per token, per attempt message? Walk us through that, please.
Yeah. So basically, with AI SDR, we start at $900 per month for 1,000 emails sent. So we basically limit on emails sent. Anything other than emails, so LinkedIn messages, videos, it's all included in subscription because you can't run a campaign without an email in AI SDR, right? And the subscription is month to month because what we understand is that AI outreach doesn't actually work for everyone, right? Like some companies get results in month one, some companies don't, right? And it depends on like product market fit, our channels being fit for your outreach, right? Maybe cold call is your best performing channel, and like doing email LinkedIn doesn't really kind of help. And we therefore give you this month-to-month option so that you could start at $900, test it out, see if it works. If you like it, scale it up, switch to annual, get the discounts. If you don't like it, cancel anytime. So we give you the most flexibility, and the pricing is all inclusive, as I mentioned. So all the
That's
features that I showed will be available.
that's very powerful because for one, it's cheaper than a rep. In the sense that you're paying for the productivity, right? Not
Yeah.
for a seed warmer. And second, because of all the bells and whistles included, just having a database, I saw that you can look for the leads, extract them. If you don't want to continue using AISDR, you can maybe run that through a different system, maybe later bring it back, enhance it. I saw that not only you generate the leads, but you can enrich them also. So for the
Yes.
people that use like Clearbit or all these other tools that that enhance the data that you already have for the people, either because you cookied them or you did something else. That's also very, very useful. I guess the last thing I want to end here with experiences from your current customers. What has been their primary measure of success for AI SDR? Is it the number of meetings booked? Is it the productivity? Is it the deals closed? Is it the pipeline generated? Walk us through a few of those
Yeah.
scenarios and the ways that your current customers are measuring the success of AI SDR.
Yeah. It's primarily meetings booked, right? Like qualified meetings booked. We booked 818 qualified meetings for our customers last month, right? So that's a lot. It works, right?
That's a
And originally and eventually, I would say, right, the proper metric for us would be like pipeline closed, right? But for now, we can't track that. We're not that deep into customer CRMs. But eventually, this is what we will be looking for. But yeah, qualified meetings booked. And we have customers who get meetings booked on month one. We have customers who get meetings booked on month two. We have customers who don't get meetings booked. But usually there are some more fundamental kind of problems in the kind of product market, kind of maturity of the sales process that are beyond just AI SDR.
Awesome. Meetings booked as the first leading indicator of the success. Definitely, there will be other things, as you said it. If the campaign is running well consistently and you're still not converting, that at least gives you it's some sort of diagnosis. It tells you, hey, go check elsewhere, go check further behind in the process to see where the drop off is. And if things, on conversely, if things continue to go well and the meetings are getting booked, not only volume, but at some point quality will kick in. Hey, we're not only getting more meetings, but also these meetings are qualified in such a better way. And the meeting came about with such good triggers that the meetings just convert better. The leads that I'm speaking with, they have better context about the conversation we just had, whereas before they were getting just rig-rolled into a conversation. Now they know what this is about, so when they take it, they're ready to have a convo with me about sales for my product, about their use case, how I can help them, etc., which should lead to more closed deals, more pipeline, more revenue. But hey, that's going to be for later. First stop would be number of meetings increasing. Yuri, this has been a very interesting episode. Definitely want to have you guys in my radar, because I know that if this is what you're already able to do, I cannot imagine what you'll be able to do with AI in a couple of months in terms of prospecting. The game's going to change. Who knows where it's going to take us? But if you want to stay tuned in to the latest and greatest, definitely look for AI SDR listing in the CloudTools marketplace. You can go ahead and request more information or book a meeting with Yuri and his team to evaluate your situation and see how AI SDR can impact you specifically. We hope that you gather a lot of insights and useful information from this episode. And Yuri, I hope to catch you in a future episode. It's been very helpful.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the conversation. Have a great day.
Awesome. I'll catch you soon. For everyone, go over to the CloudTools marketplace, tell us what your needs are, and we'll be ready to help you. See you on the next episode, Yuri. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.